The Healing Path, A Journey Through Kidney Disease and Natural Recovery. Part 1, The Diagnosis. In the leafy outskirts of Seattle, nestled between quiet tree-lined streets and community parks, stood a modest but forward-thinking clinic with a hand-carved wooden sign that read, Carter Integrative Health Center. While it looked unassuming from the outside, those who walked through its doors often left transformed. At the heart of this transformation was Dr. Benjamin Carter, a tall, silver-haired man in his early 60s, known for his calm demeanor and deep, probing questions. Dr. Carter had trained at Johns Hopkins University and spent several years studying holistic medicine abroad. What set him apart was his commitment to blending modern science with natural healing, a philosophy that had made him a sought-after expert in chronic kidney and metabolic conditions. One crisp October morning, a new patient arrived. He was tall and slightly stooped, with graying hair and tired eyes. His name was Walter Young, a 65-year-old retired high school principal who had just been told he was approaching end-stage kidney failure. He sat across from Dr. Carter, hands folded tightly in his lap. "My primary care doctor says I'll likely need dialysis within the next few months," Walter began, his voice tinged with resignation. "They said my kidneys are barely hanging on." Dr. Carter nodded, flipping through Walter's medical records. "Your creatinine levels are high. eGFR is low. I see the swelling too. And how are you feeling day to day?" "Tired. All the time," Walter replied. "My legs swell up by afternoon. I'm getting up 3, sometimes 4 times a night to pee. There's this weird foam in my urine, and sometimes it looks darker than usual. I'm also short of breath more often lately." "All classic signs of declining kidney function," Dr. Carter said gently. "The kidneys are responsible for filtering waste from the blood. When they start to fail, toxins build up, and you get symptoms like these: fatigue, swelling, changes in urination." Walter leaned back in his chair. "I figured it was just aging." "Aging plays a role," Dr. Carter replied. "But our lifestyle, diet, and stress levels all contribute. The good news is that kidney function can sometimes improve if we create the right conditions." Walter raised an eyebrow. "Improve? Without dialysis?" "Possibly," said Dr. Carter. "I've worked with patients who were able to delay, or even avoid, dialysis by making serious changes to their routines. It's not a miracle. It's not easy, but it's possible." There was a silence between them, broken only by the faint sound of autumn wind against the clinic windows. "I'm listening," Walter said finally. Dr. Carter opened a leather-bound notebook from his desk and turned it toward Walter. Inside were simple charts, food lists, and case studies from former patients. "This is where we start," Dr. Carter said. "Each morning, I want you to drink a fresh juice made of carrots and celery. Just those two. This combination helps reduce inflammation and supports natural detoxification." "All right." "Then, before every meal, drink a glass of warm water with lemon juice. It sounds simple, but it helps flush out waste and supports liver and kidney function." "What about meals?" Walter asked. "Think clean. Lots of raw vegetables. No fried food. No fast food. No red meat for now. Avoid anything processed. And I want you to include flax seeds, chia seeds, or hemp seeds in your diet. They're rich in omega-3s and amino acids, which help rebuild damaged cells." Walter scribbled down notes on the small pad he had brought. "Got it. Carrot and celery juice, lemon water, seeds, raw veggies. What else?" "Exercise. Walking, 30 to 45 minutes a day. Outdoors if possible. Even slow walking helps circulation, which is essential for kidney and heart health." Walter chuckled softly. "I haven't walked that much since I retired." Dr. Carter smiled. "It's time to get back to it. Also, stop eating after 6 p.m. Your digestive system needs rest, especially in the evening. And one more thing, stress." "Yeah, I've got some of that." "We all do," said Dr. Carter. "But chronic stress impacts your kidneys. Try journaling, deep breathing, even just sitting quietly with your coffee in the morning." Walter looked uncertain. "This is a big shift." "It is," said Dr. Carter. "But it's your life we're talking about. Give it 1 month. Then we'll recheck your labs. The first few days were rough. Walter missed his nightly bowl of ice cream and hated the taste of carrot juice. His legs still ached during walks. But by the second week, something shifted. He found himself looking forward to his morning routine. The walks around his neighborhood, past the elementary school, the corner bakery, and the rustling maple trees, became the best part of his day. He started sleeping more soundly. The swelling in his ankles lessened. And for the first time in months, he felt a flicker of energy that reminded him of his younger self. At the 1-month mark, Walter returned to Dr. Carter's clinic. The results were in. Your creatinine is down. Not dramatically, but enough to matter, Dr. Carter said. Your eGFR has gone up. Blood sugar is more stable too. How do you feel? Honestly, better than I have in years, Walter replied. It's like my body is waking up. Excellent, Dr. Carter said. This is just the beginning. Word of Walter's transformation spread quietly among his friends. One afternoon, over coffee at the community center, his old friend James Taylor noticed the difference. Walter, you lose weight or something? James asked, eyeing his friend's slimmer face. About 6 pounds. But more than that, I feel good. Last time we talked, you were on the verge of dialysis. Walter nodded. Not anymore. James, a 62-year-old warehouse supervisor who battled type 2 diabetes and weighed over 260 pounds, shook his head. You're telling me juice and vegetables did all that? Walter grinned. And walking. And no dinner after 6. You should talk to my doctor, Benjamin Carter. He's different. James laughed, but the curiosity in his voice was real. All right, maybe I will. He didn't know it yet, but James was about to begin his own journey, a path that would change more than just his weight. Part 2, a second chance. James Taylor was not a man who changed easily. At 62, he had long since settled into his routine. Coffee with sugar every morning, burgers for lunch, late-night snacks while watching baseball. He had been living with type 2 diabetes for almost a decade, and though he took his medications, he never truly believed he could reverse anything. But after seeing his old friend Walter looking healthier, livelier, and walking with a bounce in his step, something shifted inside James. The idea of living without insulin shots or worrying about his blood sugar crashing in the middle of the night was too tempting to ignore. So one Wednesday morning in early November, James stepped into Carter Integrative Health Center, skeptical but curious. Dr. Carter welcomed him with a firm handshake and a calm smile. I heard you worked a miracle on Walter, James joked. Dr. Carter shook his head. No miracles. Just biology. Your body wants to heal. It just needs the right environment. They spent an hour together, going over James' lab results, his lifestyle, and eating habits. Your A1C is over 8.2, Dr. Carter said. Your triglycerides are high, blood pressure is borderline, and you're about 60 pounds overweight. I know. Believe me, I feel it, James admitted. I get winded just walking to the parking lot. Dr. Carter nodded. We're not going to focus on losing weight. That will happen naturally. What we want is to reduce inflammation, balance your blood sugar, and improve your metabolism. That will, in turn, support your kidneys and heart. He handed James the same simple notebook he had given Walter. You'll start your day with carrot and celery juice. Then, lemon water before meals. Your meals should be clean, vegetables, legumes, lean proteins. Include flax or chia seeds daily. Cut out fried foods and processed carbs. James raised an eyebrow. So no burgers? Not for now, Dr. Carter said with a gentle grin. I also want you to walk. Just start with 15 minutes a day, then work up to 45. And if you can, stop eating after 6 p.m. James sighed. That's going to be the hard part. You're not alone, said Dr. Carter. Walter struggled too, but now look at him. James agreed to try the plan for 3 months. The first 2 weeks were miserable. He hated the vegetable juice, felt sluggish without his nightly chips, and had cravings that made him irritable. But Walter called every few days to encourage him, and Dr. Carter's clinic checked in weekly. By week 3, James noticed his pants were looser. His morning blood sugar readings dropped slightly. His sleep improved. "I've been walking at the park," James said during his next visit. "Only 25 minutes, but I'm doing it." "Great progress," said Dr. Carter. "Keep it up. The body responds slowly at first, but the changes will compound." And they did. By the end of the third month, James had lost 12 pounds. His A1C dropped to 6.9. His fasting blood glucose stabilized, and his energy levels soared. For the first time in years, he felt in control, not just of his disease, but of his life. As Walter and James found renewed health, Dr. Carter began seeing more and more patients with similar conditions, people frustrated with medication alone, seeking a more holistic approach. Encouraged by the success stories, he decided to host a small community workshop on a Saturday afternoon, titled Natural Healing for Chronic Conditions. To his surprise, over 60 people attended. Walter was the first to speak, standing at the front of the room, with quiet confidence. "I was on the brink of dialysis," he said, scanning the room. "But now, I feel like I've bought back time. Dr. Carter helped me change how I eat, move, and think. I'm not perfect, but I'm healing. And that's what matters." James followed, cracking a joke to lighten the mood. "I thought vegetables were just a side dish for steak," he laughed. "Now they're the main course, and I've never felt better." Applause filled the room, and something powerful took root that day: community. Dr. Carter used the momentum to create a support group called Thrive Together, a weekly gathering of patients committed to lifestyle transformation. The group shared recipes, walked together in local parks, and encouraged each other through setbacks. Walter became an unlikely internet star. His niece, a graphic designer, helped him start a YouTube channel called Walter's Wellness Way. In simple videos shot in his kitchen and backyard, he explained how to make his morning juice, how to shop for kidney-friendly groceries, and what it felt like to take charge of his health. His first video reached 10,000 views within a week. James, on the other hand, brought the message to his workplace. As a team leader at a local shipping company, he started a Healthy Lunch Friday initiative and convinced HR to host walking breaks and wellness challenges. His colleagues were inspired by his transformation, and some even joined him on the new path. Dr. Carter was both humbled and energized. "This is how healing spreads," he told his staff one day. "One story at a time." Word of Dr. Carter's methods reached the ears of health professionals beyond Seattle. A small integrative health journal published a feature article on his approach, blending nutrition, movement, and mindfulness in chronic kidney care. He began receiving emails from across the country, New York, Texas, even Canada. Doctors and patients alike wanted to learn more. Invitations to speak at conferences followed. But instead of scaling up into a national brand or opening a chain of clinics, Dr. Carter chose a different path. He decided to build something deeper: the Carter Center for Integrative Medicine, a new facility in Seattle dedicated to teaching and research, where doctors could train in his methods and patients could receive whole-person care. But through it all, he remained grounded in the belief that healing doesn't come from pills or procedures alone. It comes from listening to the body, nourishing it, and giving it the space to thrive. At a summer Thrive Together meeting, Walter and James sat side by side, sipping herbal tea. "I still can't believe I'm not on dialysis," Walter said. James nodded. "And I haven't touched soda in months. Who would have guessed?" They both laughed, then turned to watch a younger man in his 40s share how he had reversed prediabetes after watching Walter's videos. "You started something big, you know," James said. Walter smiled. "Nah, Dr. Carter did." "No," James said. "He showed the way. But you walked it." Part 3. The Healing Movement. By the time autumn returned to Seattle, the Carter Center for Integrative Medicine had become more than just a local clinic. It was a symbol of possibility. Inside the glass-paneled center nestled in the heart of the city, you could find a garden of fresh herbs in the courtyard, nutritionists teaching hands-on cooking classes in a sunny kitchen, and former patients giving talks on how they reclaimed their lives from the grip of chronic illness. Dr. Benjamin Carter walked the halls with a quiet pride. He had never set out to become famous. His mission was always personal, rooted in the belief that the human body, when supported with real food, movement, and peace of mind, could heal itself in ways medicine alone never could. But the world had taken notice. Doctors from across the country began enrolling in his integrative training program. Some came from traditional hospitals, frustrated by the limits of pharmaceuticals. Others were naturopaths hungry for deeper scientific understanding. All were eager to learn the method that had helped people like Walter and James transform not only their lab results, but their lives. Carter's clinic now included a team of passionate professionals, registered dietitians, mental health therapists, movement coaches, and medical doctors, all working together to help patients address the root causes of illness: inflammation, stress, toxic buildup, and poor nutrition. One day in January, Dr. Carter received a letter. It was stamped with the seal of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The letter invited him to join a national task force exploring lifestyle-based interventions for chronic diseases. His approach was being recognized at the highest levels of public health policy. Still, he never forgot his roots. He continued holding weekly Thrive Together meetings, now attended by over 100 people, some newly diagnosed with kidney disease, others managing long-standing diabetes, and even caregivers hoping to support their loved ones better. At one session, he opened with his usual reminder: your body is not broken. It's just waiting for the right signals to start healing. Walter had become a mentor in the group. He now walked 3 miles every morning, kept up his YouTube channel, and had even published a small book titled Healing Starts at Home. It became a quiet bestseller on Amazon, featured in local book clubs and hospital waiting rooms. James had dropped another 15 pounds and was no longer categorized as diabetic. His doctor had reduced his medications significantly. At work, his Healthy Friday campaign had grown into a company-wide wellness program that inspired other offices in the region. In one especially touching moment, James introduced his teenage daughter, Emily, to the group. "My dad used to come home so tired he couldn't talk," she told the crowd, voice trembling. "Now we walk together. We cook. We talk about life. I feel like I got my real dad back." Tears filled the eyes of many in the room, including Dr. Carter. But the movement wasn't just confined to Seattle. Through webinars, workshops, and collaborations with universities, the Carter method was being taught to medical students in Chicago, Boston, and San Francisco. Hospitals in rural towns began piloting healing kitchens, inspired by his nutritional protocol, offering patients fresh juice in the mornings and educational meal plans tailored to kidney and metabolic health. Dr. Carter also partnered with 2 nonprofits to bring his approach to underserved communities, where fast food and lack of access to health care often meant a higher risk of kidney failure and diabetes. He understood that lifestyle medicine had to be accessible, not just for the wealthy or the educated, but for everyone. One of his proudest achievements was the launch of the Clean Start Project, a mobile clinic that brought integrative care, grocery boxes, and group walking sessions to senior centers, churches, and schools across the state. Walter often joined the team on those trips, giving talks from a folding chair in church basements or community halls. "I'm not a doctor," he would say with a chuckle, "but I'm living proof that this stuff works." Despite the growing attention, Dr. Carter remained grounded in his philosophy, one passed down from his grandmother, a nurse and herbalist who raised him on simple meals, nature walks, and long talks about how the body tells its story through symptoms. At a conference in Boston, standing before a hall of white-coated professionals, he said, "Chronic illness is not just a physical condition. It's a message. When we quiet the noise, junk food, stress, sedentary habits, we begin to hear what the body truly needs: nourishment, movement, stillness, and connection." The room erupted in applause. Afterward, a young medical resident approached him. "Dr. Carter, what's the single most important thing I can do for my future patients?" He smiled warmly. "Teach them to trust their bodies again. Help them build a lifestyle where healing is the default, not the exception." Back in Seattle, Walter stood in front of his mirror one evening, tucking in a button-down shirt for his niece's graduation. He studied his reflection, a thinner face, brighter eyes, no more swelling in his ankles. His doctor had just confirmed that his eGFR had improved again. Dialysis. No longer even a discussion. His phone buzzed. A text from James. Made your juice recipe this morning. Not bad for a former burger addict. Walter laughed. Later that night, as he mingled with family, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not just pride, but peace. He had taken back control of his health, and now he was helping others do the same. Across the city, James was packing for a business trip. In his suitcase, lemon water tablets, chia seed packets, and his walking shoes. His energy was back, and so was his confidence. He smiled as he zipped up the bag, knowing he was walking into this next chapter of life stronger than ever. And in his office at the Carter Center, Dr. Benjamin Carter looked out the window at the city skyline, sipping a glass of warm lemon water. He thought of all the lives changed, not just Walter and James, but the hundreds of people who had stepped into his clinic with fear and walked out with hope. He opened his journal and wrote his core belief, the same one he'd carried since the beginning. True healing begins when we nourish the body, move with intention, and align with the rhythm of nature. Medicine is not just treatment, it's a way of living. He closed the journal, placed it on his desk, and stepped into the next appointment. Another life was waiting to change. If this story inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. There are millions out there, just like Walter and James, who may be one choice away from a healthier, more hopeful life. Like this video to help it reach more people. Comment below to share your thoughts or tell us your own healing journey. We read everyone. Share this story with someone who needs encouragement today. And don't forget to subscribe to the Senior Health channel for more real-life stories, natural healing tips, and empowering guidance from doctors like Dr. Carter. Because sometimes the first step to healing is simply hearing that it's possible.